stand by for action.
Thanks for joining me. My name is Dave Milner. I am the Unpleasant Blind Guy, and I want to welcome you to part 2 of this episode of the Unpleasant Blind Guy on EDL Radio. Now remember, if you want to contact me with comments, questions, show suggestions, Awesome American suggestions, I'm available at UBG Contact on Twitter, or I can also be found as Dave Milner or Aggedor, that's Aggedor, on Mublet, the Tea Party Community, Spreely, Minds, MeWe, or Gab. Now let's begin.
Amen to that, Ken. And I just want to say really quickly.
What can I say? Amen to that, Ken.
Here's the figure, Jeff. Hang on, Jeff. You were talking about the attacks since 9/11. According to the Religion of Peace, there have been, get this, people, since 9/11, 18 years ago, there have been 35,612 attacks in the name of Islam since 9/11, according to the Religion of Peace. So please go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I underestimated that figure, didn't I, Dave? I thought I was bad, right, but my goodness me, I underestimated it. This goes to show you, doesn't it, Dave and Ken, you are right. I think until people decide that this is the cult of death. I can't call, when they call it, they say it's a religion of peace, Ken. I don't know how it makes you, it just makes me feel sick to my stomach. It's anything but. Islam is from Satan. I mean, that's it. It's definitely the dark side, and it's what we must fight. It's what we are here for, isn't it, Ken and Dave? That is what we're here for. And people say, we can't declare war on Islam. Why can't we? They declared war on us. They're frightening people out left, right, and centre. There's a genocide going on with Christianity, isn't there, Ken? Why shouldn't we fight back? Time to fight back and hit them hard like they've never known before. That's the way I feel about it now, because we've talked about this for years, haven't we, Dave? And I know you have, Ken. That it's sometimes you just got to take your gloves off. You can't fight a politically correct war. You cannot do it. But these politicians of ours decided that this is we've got to have a conduct of engagement. And look how many guys have died because of this PC way they're going about. Look at people being thrown in prison because they were doing their duty on the battlefield. Bad some my thoughts and prayers, of course, go out to what happened on 9/11, but it brings it home to you that we've gone 18 years on and we still got a serious issue. The cultists of death are still doing what they do, destroying nations, doing what they planned all along, from the time they were born to right now as we talk. They're planning things as we talk. Dave?
Jeff Mitchell, Jeff Spider Mitchell, because that's the sexy way to Dave Milner is with us this particular day on TECN TV. I'm your host, Kevin Clinton, host of the Exceptional Conservative Show, owner of TECN TV. I don't mind getting into trouble for the things that I say. I'd rather warn you than for you to be hit by the brick wall that's coming towards you. I want you all to know that whether it's in conservative media, whether it's in our political hallways, we have been decimated by those who have embraced political correctness so that they can be liked and they can be loved by the leftist media. And I want you to understand, whether it's the LGBTQRSTUVWXYZ, add the P, or the jihadists of the Islamic religion or cult that it is, it doesn't matter. They are all out to oppress and to take that which you live freely for. The unfortunate thing is that we have been shamed into trying to love something that's going to hate us to death. And quite frankly, when you see one of the Islamists or one of the in the parliament or one of the Islamists in the U.S. House of Representatives What they are saying to you, if you study the Quran and the Hadith and all the other pieces, is where we step, we own. Where we step, we control. Where we step, we shall reign. They shall reign over England. They shall reign over the U.S. They shall reign over Israel if we continue to embrace political correctness and allow the flow of deviant thought and as well emasculating oppression and dewomanizing tyrants to take over our land. They will do it subtly, and then eventually they shall do it utterly, with the destruction of our Twin Towers being an example of how powerful their actual how violent they would be towards us. That's another way of saying it.
yeah, Jeff. Well, I mean, Ken, I get you, man. I mean, that's you are preaching the truth here, and you know, it is something that we have talked about for years, fellas. We have a full slate of some audios in it. One of the things about 9/11 that we do is we always talk about our experience on that day, and people on our shows, our 9/11 shows, have heard my 9/11 memories and Jeff's. But Ken, if you'd like to take some time, Jeff, with your permission, please give us your impressions of what you went through on that day, and just please walk us through it, brother.
Well, let me just say first and foremost, because I've enjoyed the simulcast, I'm looking forward to EDL someday appearing live on TECN TV. We got to work out the details, but I thank God for Jeff Mitchell and what you do, Dave Milner, every Sunday and I believe it's Thursday that you're on the air. I thank God for what you all do, because you are the lighthouse to many a ship that has been led astray in the oceans of political correctness and mutual damnation. So thank God for what you all do. Continue to do it. Be strong, be bold, and continue to recruit others to become citizen journalists to the world. In the studio in which I sit right now, it's the same room I sat in 18 years ago. 18 years ago, I wasn't the world-renowned commentator. I wasn't anything more than a father, a pastor, and a husband. And I dropped my daughters off at school on that particular 9/11 day. And I was going to prepare myself because I was headed to Wall Street, believe it or not. I was about to be interviewed for a position there. And I was getting myself prepared, and all of a sudden, a plane goes into the South and then the North Towers. And in a moment, I was caught up in a daze. I had never seen such barbarianism in person. No one sees that in America. It just doesn't happen that way. We talk about mass shootings, but nothing of 2,977 people dying all at once. And the first thing I thought about was get my girls. And so I grabbed my keys, I got in my car, and I drove, and I picked up my daughters, one from St. Thomas or the other from Bishop McNamara, and I brought them home, and I gave them the biggest hug I possibly could, and then let them go to the room. But in that moment, I realized that I was able to do something that over 4,000 families would not be able to do throughout America. And that is the whole. I want you to know that as pastor.
Go ahead, Ken. That was what an amazing testimony. I mean, what you said there, it moved me because, it was, I see it unfolding on the TV. I was watching something flicked over, and you see this plane, and then, of course, the commentators were saying it was we don't know why it was flying so low, and it was just a boom and this, that, and the other. Of course, we were all thinking, wasn't we, Ken, what's going on? What's going on? Those poor people on the floors above. How the firemen, how the rescuers going to get to these people? And I was thinking, and the plane that had gone in, and how many people might have died on those floors that enveloped in flames. And it was like watching. I don't know if you agree with me, Ken. I was watching a film of a disaster movie, but this was real life. People was dying as we was watching, wasn't it? It was just the most. Yeah. I'll never ever forget it. I'll never forget the way that the day panned out, and it was when that second plane went in, and I realised, my goodness me, we are under attack, because the whole world just lit up. Everybody, airports are being closed down, air flights was being cancelled. Everybody wasn't sure if this was going to be a coordinated attack throughout the free world. We didn't know, did we, Kemi? It was confusion. It was total confusion.
I'm going to tell you what I knew that we were under attack immediately. I was different from everyone else. I had already noted that. No one flies an airplane into the Twin Towers. It just doesn't happen. Not by accident. We've had so many years of LaGuardia and JFK. No one does that. I knew instantly that we were at war. The unfortunate thing is we were listening through the lens and through the audio of leftist media that was trying to tell us that these were accidents. We don't know what's going on. Anyone that tells you, after looking at those pictures, ladies and gentlemen, of airplanes going into the towers, that you did not know that we are at war, then you have been confounded by the leftists. I'm going to tell you right now, and we're going to get ready to sign off with TECN TV, and I thank God for you allowing me to come on EDL. I'm going to tell you all right now, the moment of substitute is gone. The moment of naivety is gone. We are at war, and whether our leaders, and they should be servants, but whether our leaders say it or not, we are still at war, and they will not be satisfied until you bow before Allah. May we, as nations under God, never bow to the enemy, whether domestic or foreign, who tells us that the name of God is not Jesus. God bless you all. Thank you all so much for allowing me on the program. That was EDL simulcasting.
Ken, we love you, brother. Thank you.
Love you, man.
Ken, you're awesome, buddy. I love you, man. You do great works. God bless you, Ken.
Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Thanks a lot.
Well, Jeff, that was tremendous.
Good day.
Go ahead.
Sorry, mate.
No. It's okay, brother.
Kenneth McClinton as the exceptional as the commentator and chief executive officer of the Exceptional Conservative Network. And they've done a simultaneous broadcast with the radio show through TCN. That was absolutely awesome. It was so lovely to have Ken join us, and he speaks what we say every week. We speak about it. This is war. When are people going to realise that this is war? This is war. Time for the gloves to come off. Stop this political correctness. It's killing us. It is killing us, isn't it, Dave? This political correctness. Nations have been being destroyed through political correctness. This garbage that's been spun out there. But, no, it was awesome to have Ken on. And just to let you know, David, and I didn't want to say too much at the time, but we got a great gentleman that's joined us in the chat, and that's Tim Tapp. He's an absolutely awesome gentleman. He's got his own show on Blog Talk Radio as well.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does. It's a thank you for the welcome. I'll be listening in as I'm working. I know, Tim, that I couldn't miss today's show. God bless you, brother. Thank you for joining us this evening. So
amen to that. Tim. Great to see Tim in the chat, even though I can't see the chat. it's great to have you. Tim is a really good podcaster in his own right. And, Tim, if you want to give Jeff the info on your show, I'm sure he'll be glad to pass it on to folks. Again, I just want to give a shout out to Ken if he's still possibly able to hear. Just again, thank you. You've been a tremendous friend. You're a great pastor. He even talked me through a few things just recently here. He's a true man of God, and he's a true soldier for civilization, as you guys just heard. So please, check out the Exceptional Conservative Network, TECN TV. The Exceptional Conservative Show is on at 9:05 p.m. Eastern on weekdays. That's
is it a TV show, Dave? I know it does the radar, but is it a TV show as well, brother?
That's 3:05 a.m. In the UK. So for you night owls or you guys in the UK, Jeff, they're up a little bit early. Yeah, it actually is a TV show. He does run video. For instance, when he was talking to us, even though we weren't running video, he was running some slides that I had presented to him, pictures of you and myself, and some other things. He has some great people on the TECN in the TECN family. Mr. Raynard Jackson, Dr. Jane Ruby, who I'm hoping we will be able, Jeff, to interview. She's a tremendous, news hound. Okay, if there is an American version, Jeff, of Jan Rennie when it comes to news gathering and knowledge about Islam, it's Dr. Jane Ruby. So we definitely want to get her on, and I'm going to get into negotiations to get her in, brother. But, folks, we're talking about 9/11 today, and Jeff has seen the stuff that we have to run. And one of the things that we wanted to talk about this time was the heroes that don't immediately spring to mind. Of course, we recognize and have the deepest respect for the NYPD, the firefighters, the EMTs, all of those people who would just naturally be expected to be recognized on this day. But there were others. There were civilians who were involved in the efforts to help out during that day and the days after. And some of those civilians were amateur radio operators. Now, some people call them ham operators. What these people are people who, have the hobby of taking their radios and talking to each other from across the city or from around the world. And there are some enthusiasts who they just like radio. Some of them build their own radios. And since early on in the 20th century, they have been involved in helping with emergency communications when normal things like telephone lines and other technologies break down. Okay. And Jeff, if you'll allow, I'm going to go ahead and play an interview that Bloomberg did with a radio amateur about their response and what they did on 9/11.
Go ahead, Dave. I look forward to listening to this, brother.
All right, guys. This is going to be about 3 minutes and 20 seconds. You're listening to the English Defense League radio show, which had a wonderful simulcast with the Exceptional Conservative Network.
When a catastrophe like the World Trade Center attack occurs, police, firefighters, and rescue crews spring into action. So do ham radio operators. Joining us live on the Bloomberg 1130 Business Hotline now, Charles Hargrove, the New York City coordinator of Amateur Radio Emergency Service. Welcome to you, sir.
Good afternoon.
Well, in the hours immediately after the attack, phone service in New York City was sporadic, as many of you recall. In some cases, phone service didn't even exist in parts of the city. On that first day, and maybe the day after, so bring us up to speed on how ham radio operators perform. What they do?
Well, starting from the morning of the actual disaster itself, telephones were going in and out. We had cell phones and Nextels that were basically knocked out of commission completely at the World Trade Center location. And one of our functions in amateur radio is to provide backup communications for entities like the Office of Emergency Management as well as Red Cross and Salvation Army. So when OEM was going through their problems and had to evacuate their offices and into a command bus, they only had 2 radio channels available to them on their own system, but no cell phones, no Nextels, and I was able to keep in contact with them from here and at the same time rally up the troops, so to speak, in the rest of the city to get themselves ready for assignment. And as it turned out, Red Cross needed us very quickly to help in setting up the shelters. And they had no communications that would suffice for all 12 shelters in one shot. So that's where we dispatched the radio operators.
Mr. Hargrove, what kind of information are you relaying? What are the details?
Well, depending upon what part of the operation, as they were setting up, there were requests for specific supplies like cots and blankets and food and maybe certain personnel like mental health officials and things like that. And as time went on, the people back at the Red Cross headquarters needed to know updates on how many clients were there, what their needs were, changes in personnel, certain sensitive information. Of course, we found alternate means of getting the information through, but the basics went across on the amateur radio channels.
Now, many people think that ham radio is a hobby, and obviously you had to jump into action rather quickly here. We saw those towers that many of the broadcasters had go down with the World Trade Center. So how did you operate?
Well, each amateur radio operator has their own equipment, personally owned, that they use during non-emergency times, either for practicing by doing public service event communications and things like that, walkathons. New York City Marathon, we have over 400 amateur radio operators that participate with that. Chit-chatting like normal between friends, hobby-type conversations, nets and things like that. Because we each own our own equipment, we don't have to go to a central location to pull it from. For example, I always carry a walkie-talkie on my belt. So that's why as soon as I saw the towers get hit, one radio goes on for my connection to OEM, another one goes on to connect to the other ham radio operators through our own local repeaters we have spread out throughout New York City, which are personally owned.
Well, we're glad that everything worked well for you and that you could help out in a time of need.
Well, we can certainly use a lot more help as far as people to join us.
Well, leave it there. Thanks for being with us. Charles Hargrove, New York City coordinator of the amateur.
That's amazing.
There you go, guys.
Absolutely amazing. We love the AM radio because comes the times of crisis, they always jump in. They are awesome people. Like you said, Dave, these are the unsung heroes. Make sure medical things are getting through, communications, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's and that's what he said. We're still short on radio ham. So anybody out there, guys, put a bit of effort in. It's great fun as well. You can have some great times being a radio ham. Am I right, Dave? I've got another friend who's a radio ham, actually, on Discord, actually, a friend of mine. So I talk to him quite often, and I just find it's great to talk to people all over the world, man.
Well, Tim Burton, who was with our show for years, is an amateur radio operator in the UK as well. It is fun. I am also an amateur radio operator. It's a great way to, especially before the internet. And we have to remember, guys, that it's really easy to forget that Wi-Fi wasn't available everywhere, and we didn't have smartphones and all of this wireless hoop-de-doo that we do now. It's really easy to forget that was the case back then. The wireless communications that were available often were through the radio amateurs. And what they do, Jeff, over here in the States, and I'm sure they do it in the UK as well, is usually here in the States, it's in the summer. They have what they call amateur radio field day. They'll take the equipment portable, and they'll set up little tents and whatnots, and they'll communicate with each other again across town, across the state, across the region, across the country, just as practice, just as the man said. so that they can be prepared for any kind of natural disasters, or in this case, Jeff, the 9/11 attack. It really says a lot about the spirit of volunteerism, that that these guys were prepared, out there and ready to go, and they did the thing. They did what they do, and it is just, again, some of the
inspirational, isn't it, Dave? It's totally inspirational.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, Jeff. Totally inspiration, and civilians in these things are often do a lot, and we don't get to hear about them much. And guys, I'm going to be honest with you. We've done 9/11 shows here on the English Defense League radio show from the beginning. I think the first one I wasn't here for, but I know that they did one. You guys did one that year, and we've done them every year since. And it sometimes gets difficult to bring a new angle to the coverage and everything, and we have to reach sometimes. But it isn't much of a reach here to find ordinary people who did some studying and who had, as said, that spirit of volunteerism, who were prepared to step up and help. Jeff. So there definitely is.
7 years ago,
that.
Dave, when we done a special, that was all the Blog Talk radio hosts. We all got together and done a 24-hour marathon of the. This is like everyone's doing every couple 2 hours each, and this went around, and it was pretty awesome, people.
That's amazing.
At that time, I was with Kel Fritz, who's no longer who's passed away a little while ago. But I remember she had a problem with her computer at the time, and she had to use the phone, and we had loads of names that we had to read out, and I'll never forget that. That was one of the first EDL memorial things that we did, and it was a lot of people said it was exceptional. It was brilliant, and it was just it's very hard because when you read your names, it's like yourself, Dave. Every name, it's a soul. It's someone who's not with us no more, and so that's it. And we've done it ever since, haven't we? Every year that's gone by, we've always, and we will continue as long as this show exists. We will always do a memorial for 9/11, 7/7. This is what we do.
Yes.
This is what we're here to do. Go ahead, Dave.
Absolutely, Jeff. Yeah, Jeff. Well, that's something that I appreciate, and I hope it's something that the listeners appreciate, because one of the things that guys, we've been preparing for this show in a sense. We've been preparing for this show for almost a month. Jeff and I, we before we went on vacation in August, Ken McClinton was with us as just a regular guest on the show, and we, I kind of buttonholed him and said, hey, you want to be with us for our 9/11 special. So in a sense, we've been preparing for this for a while, and this is what we do. This is the kind of thing that we do, because one of the things that I thought about during the time intervening was the fact that it's going to be that it is 18 years since the 9/11 attacks.
Wow.
Yet a child that was born today, 18 years ago, will be voting in the 2020 election, and they have absolutely no memory of 9/11. And as deeply as it affected myself and Ken, who lives in Washington, D.C., so you can imagine how worried he was for his daughters and his wife. And Jeff, who is across the pond, as deeply as it affected us, those kids have absolutely no memory or connection to it. And that, Jeff, I think is really the biggest thing, the biggest reason why we should keep doing these specials. And what I'm thinking about here, I know it may be a bit early for you to call back in, but I'm looking at the clock, and there's a tune that I know you wanted to I know you wanted me to play in memoriam for the fallen. So if you think it's time to call back in, you're about 3 minutes shy of when you usually do. I can go ahead and play that tune. What do you think?
Yeah, I wanted to. I'll tell you what, Dave. Can we play the tune? Because I just love hearing that tune. It's one of those haunting tunes, isn't it? And I'll take a break soon after. Maybe another clip that we can play. And I'll take a break in between that. If that's good with you, Dave.
Yeah, we do have other clips, guys. There's going to be a lot more to this program. We're going to be recognizing other unsung heroes of 9/11, and we're going to be remembering. And this is a tune that Jeff picked out. Often I pick out the music, but Jeff, our musical tastes can be somewhat similar, and we both love this song. This is about 3 minutes. This is 3 minutes and 37 seconds long. We're going to play this for the fallen, for the injured, for the damaged of 9/11. You're listening to the English Defense League radio show.
Who can say if you love
And that is it for this time. Next time, Part 3. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening, and may your God go with you. Goodbye.
The Unpleasant Blind Guy is copyright 2019. Anno Domini. Now for Dave's Canes. Extras that help you navigate the new media world.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.
Hey, this is Michael Wright.
And I'm Shannon Wright.
Join us for The Right Way with Shannon and Mike, Monday through Thursday from 7 to 9 a.m. right here on SHR Media.
Why are they joining us?
For fun things like sports, politics.
Oh, maybe some news and entertainment?
And all kinds of other things.
Money and recipes and events, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, so join us Monday through Thursday, 7 to 9 a.m. here on shrmedia.com.
From a public locker inside a dilapidated Long Island rail station comes a show designed to piss off liberals using truth, facts, and ridicule. The Lid Radio Show, featuring the conservative voice from the People's Republic of New York, the Lid himself, Jeff Dunitz. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com. At Lid Radio, we fight for the truth, justice, and a good kosher T-bone. If you don't listen, Hillary Clinton might sneak into your bedroom in her housecoat late at night and blame you for her election loss. It's the Lid Radio Show with Jeff Dunitz.
It's your business diva here, Melanie Collette. I am inviting you to a front row seat as I discuss some of the most intriguing details of wealth and finance with today's movers and shakers in the world of business. Listen in and discover financial truths on a global, domestic, and household scale. Uncover topics that will impact your wallet today and in the future. Money Talk with Melanie airs Monday through Friday, 5 p.m. East, 2 p.m. West, right here on SHR Media and High Plains Pundit Talk Radio. You can't afford to miss it.
The new show on the SHR Media Network, Sackheads Against Tyranny. On shrmedia.com. Go there quick like a bunny, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Pacific every Wednesday. Live and direct on the SHR Media Network. shrmedia.com. Be there.
Broadcasting behind enemy lines in occupied California, a mere 2 miles from the state capital, the bloviating Zeppelin's Berserk Bobcat Saloon Radio Show can be heard every Tuesday and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Pacific and 11 p.m. Eastern, only on the SHR Media Network. Go to shrmedia.com to listen. You can also watch on the SHR Media Facebook page and the SHR Media YouTube channel. No goldfish were abused in the making of this ad.
Hey girls, Carry Girl Gear is here. More and more women every day are concealed carrying, participating in competitive shooting, and getting firearms training. It's not a boys' club anymore, and we don't have to shop in their stores anymore either. Finally, a cool and unique clothing line just for women. Dope tees and hats for the patriotic, concealed carry, and 2A girl. So what are you waiting for? Go check out carrygirlgear.com today.
Conservative media done right. You're listening to the SHR Media Network.